Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. I am ready to start my Inktober52 drawing for this week, which I always do on Mondays. Got my reference image up. The prompt for this week is beard. Since my theme is griffins, I am going to draw a bearded vulture. It's not going to be an actual griffin, it'll just be the top half. So it'll just be a bird drawing, but it's still practice for a griffin. I've never heard or seen a bearded vulture before. It's a pretty cool animal. So I'm excited to get started with this drawing. I've got my Inktober kit. It is made up of mostly items that I got at the Inktober retreat last October. This bag was not included. This was my choice. Adorable little Shiba Inu bag. I got this from a Mido in a box. So still another art slash stationery whatever thing. Oh man, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it, but it is getting really thundery outside. I was just outside with my dogs and they wanted to go right back in because there's so much thunder. And the wind is picking up now. I'm looking at it out there. Oh, Exy, hello! How are you? Great to see you. First thing in the stream on Monday. Yay! How are you doing? How was your weekend? Oh, I'm taking a sip of my. I'm gonna try not to spill it, but I'm having some lemonade. It's really hot outside for spring, so I really feel like lemonade. I always feel like lemonade. Yeah, those citrusy drinks I always feel like drinking a citrusy drink when it's hot. Oh yeah, so my kit, it's got this Moleskine Inktober sketchbook with the official Inktober logo embossed on it. And this set of mild liners, which are like double-ended highlighter markers. And then these fine liners, which are, as you'd imagine fine liners are, the little tabs indicate the colors. There is also very little static noise. Oh, are you hearing static noise right now? Hold on. I wonder if it's because I have my... Oh my goodness. Chappie, my little dog Chappie, is so scared she just went in my closet and she has never gone in there before. Let me turn off my headphones just in case. That's it. Shuroshimasu. I had my lovely bone conduction headphones on all day listening to music. But if it's because my phone is right next to my microphone is right here. So, hopefully if there was a static noise, it is gone now. Let me know. Let me know if it's gone. If it's not gone, I need to do something. I don't know what else I would do. Oh, but Exy is okay. Yay! You're welcome. How about you? Hope you had a nice weekend. Yeah, I'm doing good. I love this storm weather. It's so sad for the puppies because they hate it. We're finally having thunderstorms for the first time since adopting these puppies in autumn of last year, and so this is the first time they've experienced a thunderstorm with us around, and yeah, I can't believe how scared they are. Thunderstorms. But they were both strays before they were taken in by the animal shelter, and then we adopted them from the shelter. So I guess it would make sense that they would be scared if they were just living outside and just trying to survive. So thunderstorms are legit scary. You know, one strike of lightning can kill you. So it's okay, Chappie. I wish I could show how she's all super tiny in the closet. I've never seen her do that before. Oh, excellent. Yay. Exy says the sound is gone. Okay, so now I know I can't have my Bluetooth on because it's too close. Because they're like my phone is here and my microphone's here, so. Okay, now I know. There's only a few more things left in my kit. these two pens, they are almost exactly the same with a medium-sized brush tip on this end, but on the red one, it has a small brush tip on the opposite end as well. Chappie is trying so hard to get as far into the corner as she can. I wonder if I close the door, will she feel better? Chappie, you want me to close the door? I closed the closet door for her, but I left a little crack so she can still see out and see me. And also I can see if she wants to get out and I can open the door. Dang, Chappie, I'm so scared of the thunder. Okay, then the last thing in my kit, another thing of my choosing, is this pencil. Ah, it's got a little scrape on it. No. Anyway, this Palomino Blackwing pencil, plus a sharpener for it. There. Okay, now put this bag off to the side. And take another sip of my drink. I'm glad that static noise was just the phone doing Bluetooth and not it was like the thunderstorm or something, because I can't do anything about thunderstorm. Oh, Satoita is here too. Hi! Hello! How are you? Yes! The thunderstorm is awesome! I love thunderstorm. It's just, and it's so much thunder too. It's just like constant. Like no wonder Chappie is so scared. Okay, so let me get my stuff set up. So I'm doing the bearded vulture. Found a really nice reference image on Pexels, which is one of my favorite free stock photo sites. And I get a lot of reference images there because then I don't have any worry about whether someone's going to be mad that I used it as a reference. So if I can, I get my images off of those places. So I've got that open, and let's see, I'm going to try to work around the gutter so the head is facing this way, and then it's got the whole body going back like this. So I'm just going to draw what I'm seeing. I'm not going to do anything special to make it a griffin this time, just going to practice this, just like practicing the top half of the griffin, we'll imagine. I think I do want to sharpen this time. I haven't had to sharpen it in a while, but it's finally looking a little bit dull. Well, I hope everybody's having a great Monday. It's a great Monday for me to have 2 people in the chat. What? It's so lucky. So lucky to have you guys here with me. So great that I end my day with a live stream because I get to chat with you guys. And it's just so fun. And all the other work I do is all, you know, by myself. Oh, Jenny is here too. Yay! 3 people. Jenny is at the apartment with Satuita. Yay! Dang, dude. The thunder just keeps going. Boom, boom. And it's coming this way. It's coming closer and closer this way. You can just like, well, you can't. I don't think the microphone's picking it up, but I can hear it coming closer because I was just outside. So I heard it like over there, and then now it's like, it'd be sweet if it starts raining because there was no, oh, I think it is. I see some little, the tiniest little streaks of rain have hit my window. Yes! Best live stream ever! Okay, I am starting my bearded vulture. Something really cool about the shape of the vulture's head is this little, the way the beak, most bird beaks either like come out straight or it's just a gentle taper. But this one, like, it's concave. And I think that's so cool. I think that's a vulture thing, but I have not really drawn them before. So I'm glad that beard was the thing for today because it inspires me to draw something I haven't drawn before. Okay, you can't really... Okay, wait, you can. It kind of disappears in the beard right here. It has these feathers growing out, and then this line where the beak opens gets kind of lost, but then I was able to see it again. And it ends right below the pupil of the eye, so... Let's see, and then the head is actually... comes up like this, and then it's kind of flat. And then it's got these awesome feathers that are just jutting out like it's some sort of cool punk rock bird. This is a very cool bird. I'm so happy. I'm always learning about new... I mean, then not new. I'm sure this bird has been around for a long time. It was new to me. New to me, all thanks to a weird prompt. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I typed bearded birds into Google search. That's how I found it. Now Satsui just says, use that electricity to draw. Yeah, it's definitely upping my vibe. I'm feeling energized. I love storms. I love storms and I love rain. Everybody else is like, you have to... I saw this quote. It was supposed to be an encouraging quote on my phone from one of my apps. It gives me an encouraging quote every day, but it was like, if you want rainbows, you have to deal with the rain as if the rain was a bad thing. And I'm like, this is not an encouraging quote for me. I like the rain and the rainbows. Okay, so that's good, and let's place the eye here. This is a very cool, very, very cool bird. As I mentioned before, I'm not 100% confident, even though the image I'm working from is from a free stock photo site. I'm not confident about whether I also have permission to put it on the stream, because it might be free, but there could be stipulations. So that's why I don't have the image up like I've been doing. I have the images up for my Chibi Pets drawings because they're my own images, so there's no potential copyright violations or anything. And it's not just copyright violations. I don't want to upset anyone, because I wouldn't be happy if someone just used my image without at least telling me, like asking me. So that's why I'm not showing it, but you'll see it come to life. I think you're seeing it come to life already on the screen. It's got such a cool, I love this concave curve to the beak. And I was learning about vultures in my bird science book that I've been reading. It's called The Bird Way. And vultures are so cool. They can do so many. They are so awesome. I don't know about this bearded vulture. They didn't talk about it. They talked about... Oh, I can't remember. Can't remember which species, but it was a different kind of vulture that the book talked about. Now this is the beginning of the actual beard part. And then it comes down like a goatee off the bottom. And there's some, see this skin around the eye. I don't know if the eyelid or what, but you can see that. So I'll add that in there. Okay. And this comes down. Okay, I'm gonna go back to these cool punk rock feathers. And then it's kind of like a bald eagle in that the head is white. Like the head and neck have these white feathers, and then the rest is a darker color. And I love how triangular these ones coming off of the head are too. It's not really what I tend to think of when I think of a bird's feathers. In fact, it's kind of like an Elizabethan ruffled collar. That's what these feathers look like. Aw, thunder seems to be dying down now. It's gotten kind of quiet. Okay, now these are also long. There's like Beethoven or something hair too. Like a skexis. Satoita says, what the heck is a skexis? What's a skexis? Is it another kind of bird? I don't really know what you're replying to at this point. It's hard to keep track because by the time I've said it, it gets transmitted and you guys hear it and then you reply. I've like forgotten what I said. Okay. Ooh, the head is done. Okay, time for the body. Let's see the overall shape. So the wing comes down like this. Let's see, it comes out like this and curves. A very gentle curve under. It's almost straight up and down, but just barely goes. And then you can see a few more feathers sticking out. Oh, yeah. I bet they, now that you say that, I bet that they based it on there because it really does so many similarities. Even with like just hearing it in my, seeing it in my mind's eye. Satuita says, like the dark crystal. And for anybody listening to or watching the recording later, since there's no chat on the recording. Oh, thank you very much, everybody. Exie says, looking pretty amazing already. Satuita says, oh, definitely. Thank you very much. I mean, it's I'm mostly just copying a picture, so I can't take too much credit. There's not too much creativity. Is more of a technical drawing today, but still, thank you. Okay, the feathers are curving down this wing like here, and then as the wing comes around, they curve back this way. But I'm just going to mark for now where there's these back feathers. So the wing is here, and then the back feathers are coming out, and they're much bigger, and they're also pretty triangular. Very big and pointy. Okay, so I've got this line that's dividing the wing from the back. Now I shall get this other line to be the other edge of the back. And it's just got a little bit of undulation from the feathers themselves, I think. And then maybe even that you can see the top of the opposite wing. Starting right around here, that's what it seems like to me. It seems like the back feathers are curving in, and then this is wing. Okay, so for this part, I'm not going to try to be too loyal to the photo. Like, as far as, I'm not going to try to draw each individual feather exactly as I'm seeing it. I'm mostly just going to get the idea of the feathers in there, so that it looks like a cohesive whole that makes sense. Because I could spend the whole stream just drawing each individual feather and trying to make it look exactly how it actually is in real life, but I think that takes too long. especially for an Inktober drawing, because for me, Inktober is practice ink. And this is where these back feathers are being, so like the wings have this kind of effect, and so the back feathers are curving around them, and wing feathers can be seen here. Okay, and these ones are smaller, but they get a lot bigger as they go down, as they go to the side as well. So it's small here, but getting bigger out this way. That's probably good. Okay, now I shall do the wing that is closest to the viewer. It's very cool too. I don't know if I'll do my best, but all of these feathers have a white stripe. Some of them it's because like right up the middle. Some are because it's that I don't know the names for the parts of the feather, but that hard part in the middle that's the first thing to grow out, and then all the feathery parts come out. Some of them, that's what the white stripe is, but these ones on the wing definitely are just colored. So there's that middle part too, but then there's also the color is even grows out. Oh, I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but it's very interesting because each individual feather has a little white stripe on it, and some of them are thicker than others. Hold on a second. I'm going to adjust my sitting position and also take a sip of my lemonade. Mmm. Yummy. I love lemonade. I love lemonade. These ones are curving around. So this part, it's not just flat, it's curving around. So the feathers are they're more like this than like this. Right here. And there's just a ton of these little small triangle feathers here. So I'm just going to keep drawing them, getting that overlapping look. They are a bit wider of an angle, so we'll try to get that a little bit more than I have been. Okay, and it's right around here that you can start seeing them become more like these feathers. So I'm going to keep building them up until I get to about that point, and then I'll start making them much bigger. Really, really big ones can be seen right here. Yay, good. Okay, satisfied with the pencil sketch part. So that's my pencil side, and what do I want to do? Do I want to use the fine liner or just go ahead and use, let's see, well, what, let's see, we've got about 35 minutes left, so, I'll use this. The small end of my dual-ended brush pen, because the brush pen is just so good for getting those feathery tapering lines that just really add a lot without any more effort than you'd use for a fine liner pen or some other pen. gotta make sure to, so this part is actually feathery. So I'm gonna do little beep boop lines to indicate that it's textured and not smooth. Like this part is just smooth beak material. Ah, I agree. Satoisa says, I love brush tips. An actual brush is so hard for me to control. Yes, I have the same experience. I am so happy that right around the time when I was introduced to the idea of inking with a brush pens were coming out in America. I mean, I assume they'd been out in Japan before because they were all Japanese brands, and they almost all are still. And so I did try inking with a brush for a very small time, but I found out about brush pens and I did not look back. I think ink with a brush is, for me, is better just as a way to fill in areas with a lot of ink quickly. That's what I use it for now. Because that's actually something that is a weakness of the brush pen, is being able to fill in and do a lot of ink, like a big, huge wash. The brush pen either dries out too quickly or it's like you can't fill it in because the ink doesn't flow fast enough for that kind of application. So I still use brush and ink, but just not for doing line work. Ah, so fun. It's already looking really good, I think. I love these. Here, I'll show you. Look at these lovely little boop boop lines. It's just so organic, and the different line weights just naturally happening, and they're not necessarily all even or anything like that, but then they work all together and it just gives it a nice organic look, like a natural look. Here there's lots of little super thin black hairs on very white skin right near the eye. So I'm doing the lightest possible, teeny tiniest ink lines I can around the eye. Get the focus back down. Okay. There. Okay. And I wish I had red in my inking kit, because this bird has the most beautiful red. I'm not sure what it is. It's like the iris is a beautiful, super light yellow, like melon or something color, like a almost white, and then there's this bright red around it. It looks like what for the human equivalent would be the white of the eyes, but it's bright red. It's very cool looking. But I'll probably I'll use one of this kit to at least give it some color, even if it's not the same color as it is naturally. Okay. Now these feathers on the back part of the eye are an even different kind of texture from these ones. They're kind of like short but really thick and dense. They look like it would be very soft if you could ever touch it. Probably not a good idea to try to touch a vulture, but I can imagine it looks really soft, and like if you could just pet it, it would be very nice. Okay, so you can see one jawline, and then you can see another one in shadow, and I don't know if it's the opposite jaw or if it's something hanging down like in the middle. But to indicate that, I'm just going to do some hatching. I'm not even doing an outline for it, just some hatching. And this bottom jaw. Oh, the head is pretty much done now. Yay! Okay, let's bring these all the way up here. Up the jaw, and then coming out the back of the head is a pretty distinct line where these tiny fluffy feathers are meeting the larger but equally fluffy feathers of the neck ruff. I'm actually going to bring this back even farther than what I drew it because it's a very long, slender head. Right here I've made it pretty round, but it's more like an egg shape. And right here there's some dark feathers, so I'm going to do some really big, heavy black marks. To show that this is actually dark feathers, not just shadows or something. And the same thing, there's these little dark feathers mixed in with the white feathers on this area. So I'm going to do some really distinct black marks to indicate them. Okay, should I do the black on the head? This section is all black, or else very dark gray, depending on how the light is hitting it. I'm thinking about whether I should fill it in now or if I should ink the whole bird first. I think I'll ink the whole bird first. Okay, first these punk rock feathers. Ooh, inking on top of the gutter is kind of hard. Looking at the reference and looking at what my lines are looking like and comparing if the overall effect is about the same. So you don't necessarily have to ink each individual feather. You can just do enough to get the same kind of feeling. So like right here, there's not too much difference between each feather. They're all laying pretty closely on top of each other, but then right here there's you can see some distinct shadows between one layer of feathers and the next one. And that's where I will put ink. Yeah, I know. Satoe just says the storm disappeared. It stormed itself out. I do still have a little bit of sprinkles on my window down here. So that was nice, because when I looked at the weather yesterday, there was like no indication that there would be any. Wait, I think maybe in the morning there had been like a teeny tiny chance. So this is better than nothing. Grateful for this tiny little thunderstorm. I mean, it was enough to scare the crap out of the dogs, so I guess it wasn't that small of a storm, but I want it to get stormier. I love the big, huge storms, and windy, and the lightning flashing, the rain is pouring down. Okay, now I'm on the bigger feathers, and so as not to feel confused, I'm just gonna follow what I've sketched here and not worry too much about the reference image at this point. Just ink the lines that I sketched. just trust myself. Trust that what I've already laid down will be good enough to get the idea across. And my brush is doing a little more dry brush effect than I would like, but it makes sense because I'm inking a lot fairly quickly, but that's one of those things that's the downside. I mean, it's the downside if you don't want to do it. If you don't mind that, then it's not a downside. It's all relative to what you're trying to achieve. But I would prefer if it was a more solid line. Then again, the feathers aren't perfectly black. They're more like the very darkest gray markers that I use when I'm using the Copic markers. So this little section right here is a very interesting point because there's some white feathers mixed in with the rest of these feathers, which are that super dark gray with a white stripe on it. But this little section is white, so I'm not inking it too much. I'm just going to leave it like that. This is the point at which I always wonder, is there some way I could have done this without as much work? Since I couldn't think of a way, it would have taken just as much work to think of a way, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. One at a time. One feather at a time. The gutter is always makes my lines weird when I draw on it. Because I'm trying to draw like this, but the gutter is like, nope. It makes you go down. Trying to do an angle? No, you're going to go down. Oh, I think that's all. Oh, wait, here's one. There's one. Ha ha ha! The main lines are done. Hooray! What is our time looking like? Oh, we've got plenty of time. Time for me to take a sip. Delicious lemonade. Okay, now, what am I going to use? I'll use this one. I've not used this one yet. It's the same as this, but it's sad not to use this one just because this one also has it. So, what I wanted to work on before, the beard part of the bearded vulture. And I'll do my best to try to get a sense of where the light is hitting these dark feathers, right? Inking darker in certain places and leaving it with more paper showing through in the lighter places. See how that works. Right here's there's like dappled light hitting the bird in the reference image. There's a stripe of brightness right here. So here I shall do thin inking to try to show that. And the only way to really make that work is by to do the next area dark, and then by the contrast you can tell. And right here, even though it's like beardy style feathers, It's mostly the white feathers with just a few of the dark ones coming out. Now, getting up closer to the eye, it's actually not those long, stringy, beardy ones. It's like these little short, fluffy ones. Actually, almost looks like fur. So I'm just filling this all the way in. It's very, very velvety looking. So I'll do this. It's all the feathers. So many feathers. Some other kind of bird would be easier because lots of birds have the same feathers. Like they all look like one big thing and you can't really tell. Not this bird. This bird you can tell. Each individual feather. Okay, what else? I've got all the dark areas on the face. And this I was going to do a color from my marker selection. So now, how am I going to get these white stripes? I think I'll just try inking from the outside. Okay, so these are all rough feathers, okay. From the outside in and just trying to leave the idea of a white stripe without literally drawing it. So I probably won't get the exact, like the way these ones I described, they're a very thin white line. But then here they're a much wider white line. I don't know if I'll be able to show that, but I'll get the overall effect of really dark feathers with a white stripe in the middle. I'll at least be able to get that. I know that. Moving the book back and forth because it's much easier to ink that way. And then it looks consistent on each feather. Okay, what's this part? Let me look at what I'm seeing. So these are those white feathers and that's okay, these should be black too. I think it's going to be easier if I ink from the bottom up. So this is the reason I'm inking from the outside edge to the middle, because for on these big feathers you can really see how it just naturally is darker on the edge and lighter in the middle of the stroke or toward the end of the stroke. That's what those feathers look like too. It's darker gray fading into light gray and then white in the middle. So that's why I'm doing this upside down so that I can get the outside mark to be on the, to get the darker edge on the feathers. I can't really see what the tip would be of this one, so I'm just gonna guess. It'd probably be maybe maybe right there. Probably good enough. Okay, in this area, I don't know if it's the light hitting it or what, but there's not very much gray showing, so I'm just going to do a little bit right here. And that. So maybe it's just the angle of the feathers or something. There. I gotta turn it back so I can see. Now these ones coming down are darker. There we go. What's this section looking like? This is also kind of light compared to the rest. So I'm gonna be careful and not overdo it. Just do a little bit on the edges of these. Let's do a little bit on this one. Maybe a little right here. I'm looking at this and then looking over at my reference image to see what the overall effect is looking like, if it's similar. I'm just doing a tiny bit of lines to help this what am I trying to say? To feel like it's all part of the same thing. It felt like it was standing out a little bit too much. Okay. And then I think I can just ink the rest of these the way I had been doing. To hold the page down. It's trying to bubble up a little bit. I always think I want some contraption or something that helps hold the page down, but then I think about how even if I had something like that, it would probably end up too much of trouble to use it, and so it would just go to waste. So like, just use your hand. Just hold the page down. Because it doesn't just happen when I'm drawing, it happens when I'm writing, and I'm like, I have to hold my journal page down so it's flat, so that the lines of my writing go where I want it. Oh, I don't think I mentioned, but this sweater I'm wearing is my Inktober sweater. I don't really need it right now. It was a little cool because I'm in the basement, so it stays cooler than the rest of the house, but when I close my door, it gets really hot now these past few days. So I'm starting to get kind of warm. Okay, let's see. What is this? Is this more black feathers? Yes. I think maybe, oh, and this has a really big light patch, like the sunlight is hitting right in the middle here. But what I was gonna say is I think these will go by even faster because 1, they're smaller, and 2, they have a much bigger white line in the middle. So in fact, I'm just gonna do a different style of inking on them. I'm just gonna go straight up the sides instead of this way. I'm gonna go this way. Hold on. Okay. Looking at the big feathers that are more like the feathers on the back. I'm just going to... I'll continue doing these vertical ink lines, but just do more of them because they don't have as big of a white line as the small ones. Oh, kind of sounds like it's getting thundery again. It's definitely not as precise as the actual bird's feathers, but I think I'm getting that overall feeling of how these ones are different from these ones. These are different looking. Same colors, but the patterns on them is noticeably different. And then there's this patch right here that's much brighter than the rest, so I shall add even more just general lines in these areas where it's darker. Not even worrying about individual feathers right here. Just trying to get the feeling of a patch of brightness. This is a patch of brightness. So it's like right here. And now I'll do the same thing on these back feathers. However, I want it to look a bit darker than the rest. Let's see, where are we on time? 5 minutes to go. Well, I better do a little color in the eye before I forget. Yay, thank you! Satuita says, wow, I love the effect on the feathers. Yay! Well, I'll hold this up real quick. And everybody can see a little close-up of the different... My attempt at showing the different textures of feathers. Just with black ink. And now, let's look at my swatches from the very beginning. It never wants to open the front page. Yeah, I better do this pink. That'll be the closest to this bright, this beautiful bright red. So basically this vulture is like my favorite colors, like red, black, and white. But I don't have red in my Inktober kit this year, so I'll do this like magenta color. What does it say it is? Oh yeah, it says magenta. Yay, I like it when I get it right. I can never remember. I often say magenta and it's actually fuchsia, or you know, it actually said magenta. Yes. Okay, now, well, we have a few more minutes, so, oh, thank you very much. Exie says, so pretty. Yay. Oh, and that's very nice because it is a vulture and they have a reputation for being ugly, but I think that they're beautiful. So I'm happy to hear that, happy to see that in the chat. So pretty. I'm going to use my fine liner now just to add some hatching for shadow. Adding shadows, shadow enhancement. I'm not sure what to call it. Adding little extra shadows in places. Or if there's a slight color difference, like right here, seems a little bit darker. And maybe it's from shadow, but maybe also just because this beak is a slightly not the same color all the way through. And then there's this cool, you can see a shadow being cast on the eyeball from this, I imagine from this fuzzy, these fuzzy feathers. So I will do some hatching across the eye to get that effect. And right here, I'm going to add a little bit more to this details around the eye. I'm seeing. Listen, you can see it's similar. I mean, I imagine a lot of birds have this, but it's similar to my pigeons. It's got a texture to it. This eyelid area has a texture to it. Maybe a little bit more hatching right there. Some right under the beaky right there. I did some hatching there. But this part is also in shadow. The jaw, the roundness of the lower jaw can be seen. Where else could we use? Maybe a little bit here and there on these fluffy head feathers. Right here is nice to add some shadow because the neck ruff is coming down like this, but these feathers are coming out like this. Especially right here, it's quite dark under this, where the ruff ends and these are coming out this way. And then there's more shadow here, I imagine because the head is casting a shadow. But maybe also from the foliage or whatever it is, where we're getting these light patches from. There's also shadow being cast. And then right here, there's actually a little bit more dark beardy feathers coming up than what I did. So I add a little bit more. And little spots. Some teeny tiny texture right there. And also here. Oh, we're over time. Oh, I was having so much fun adding all those details. So let's write my usual stuff. Inktober52. This was beard. B-R-D. Beard. And today is the 15th. 15 May 2023. Yay! all done with my beard prompt. Here's the close-up look before I sign off. Yeah, I really like the shadow on the eye. Just a few little lines, and it's like, whoa, it has so much more dimension. Yeah. Hooray! That was fun. Never seen this bird before, but I don't think I will forget it now that I've drawn it in detail. I don't even know what the full body looks like, but I recognize its face anywhere. Okay, that is it for today's stream. And thank you for staying with me for a couple extra minutes. I'll be back on Wednesday for a lucky dip, which is 4 random items and my swordsman pose reference book. So hopefully see you then. Oh, you're welcome. Actually says thank you for the stream. See you next time. Yeah, I will see you on Wednesday hopefully. Until then, thank you for watching.